Hi there, I'm Dr. Lily Harper. For more than 15 years now, I've been working with couples here in my practice just outside Boston. And if there's one thing I've learned in all that time, it's this. The older we get, the richer our lives become. Experience, wisdom, perspective. These are things you simply cannot buy. And yet, when it comes to intimacy with a partner, I see so many men, especially those over 60, still relying on the same old playbook they've been using since their 20s. I get it. I really do. A lot of you feel like it's too late to change, or maybe a little embarrassing to even think about learning something new at this stage of life. But I'm here to tell you today, as someone who has sat across from hundreds of couples in this very situation, that belief right there is exactly what's getting in the way of the connection you're craving. Let me share something with you. According to research published by the Kinsey Institute, nearly 70% of women over 60 report feeling emotionally unfulfilled in their intimate relationships. Now, let that sink in for a moment. 7 out of 10. And here's the thing. It's not because the men in their lives don't love them or don't try. It's because nobody ever taught them how to adapt, how to meet their partner where she is now, not where she was 40 years ago. See, back in the day, a lot of the stuff that passed for romance, the strong take charge approach, the I know what she wants attitude, that might have worked once upon a time. But for a mature woman today, especially one who's lived a full life and knows herself deeply, that kind of approach can actually feel distant, cold even. What she's looking for now is something completely different. She wants softness. She wants presence. She wants a man who's willing to slow down and actually see her. And here's the beautiful part, everyone. Learning this stuff isn't just good for her. It's good for you too. The CDC and studies out of Harvard Medical School have shown time and again that older men who maintain close, affectionate relationships report significantly higher levels of happiness, better sleep, and even longer lifespans. I'm not making this up. This is real, peer-reviewed science. So when I tell you that relearning intimacy is one of the best investments you can make in the rest of your life, I mean it from both a personal and a medical standpoint. If you're the kind of man who wants to be the one your partner actually wants beside her, not just tolerates but genuinely wants, then stick with me on this channel. I'm going to be sharing everything I've learned in over 15 years of practice about how to become that man. Not the old guy she's just used to having around, but the one she lights up for. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, because I promise you, what I'm about to share can change everything. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I want all of you to understand is that real intimacy doesn't start with the body, it starts with the brain. I know that sounds clinical coming from a doctor, but hear me out. Years of neuroscience research have shown us that the feelings of closeness, safety, and satisfaction we experience with a partner are largely driven by what's happening upstairs in the brain itself. Specifically, there's a hormone called oxytocin. You might have heard it called the love hormone or the bonding hormone. When you share a gentle touch with your partner, when you hold her hand, when you look her in the eyes and really listen, her brain releases oxytocin, and so does yours. That chemical is what builds trust. It's what creates that feeling of, I'm safe with this person, I'm home. And here's something really important for you to know. For women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, these small gestures matter so much more than they did when she was 25. At this stage of life, it's not about fireworks. It's about warmth. It's about feeling chosen again and again in the quiet moments. Researchers at Columbia University found that affectionate touch between long-term partners activates the reward centers of the brain, lowers cortisol, that's your stress hormone, and even improves sleep quality. So when I say a simple touch can heal, I'm being literal. What this means for you, my friend, is that the second half of life offers something the first half never could. A depth, a stillness, a kind of quiet strength that only comes from having lived. And that strength, when you know how to share it, becomes the most attractive thing in the world to the right woman. Now, let's talk about something a lot of folks skip right over, and that's setting the stage. I cannot stress this enough, everyone. You can know every technique in the book, but if you walk into the moment the wrong way, none of it matters. For a woman, the atmosphere you create before anything even happens is often more important than what comes after. Start with the space itself. Bright overhead lights, kill them. Those fluorescent bulbs feel like a dentist's office, not a bedroom. Go with something soft, a bedside lamp, maybe a candle if that's your thing. Total silence can feel heavy and awkward. So put on some quiet music, something instrumental, something jazzy, whatever feels right for the two of you. And scent matters more than people think. A clean bedroom, fresh sheets, maybe a little cedar or lavender in the air. These three things, light, sound, and scent, they tell her nervous system, you can relax now. Next, pay attention to your eyes and your breath. Don't rush to touch her. Just look at her. Really look and match her breathing. I know that sounds almost too simple, but trust me, when a woman feels you actually seeing her, something shifts in her chest. She feels safe. She feels met. And then there's what you say. You don't need to write poetry, gentlemen. A simple, honest sentence delivered with warmth goes a million miles. You look beautiful tonight. I'm so glad we have this time together. I've been looking forward to this all day. Words like these, all said with a soft voice, can raise the whole quality of what follows, because for her, intimacy already started the moment you began paying attention. Okay, now let me get real with you for a minute, because I've had this conversation in my office more times than I can count. Even with the best intentions, a lot of men sabotage themselves without realizing it. So let me walk you through the 3 most common mistakes I see so you can avoid them. Mistake number 1, moving too fast. I know, you're excited, you're eager, and that's wonderful. But when you rush, her body reads it as pressure, not passion. A woman's body, especially after a certain age, needs time to warm up. Not just physically, but emotionally. Skip that part and everything that follows lands flat. So slow down, like really slow down, way slower than you think is necessary. Mistake number 2, using too much force. A lot of guys think stronger equals better. It doesn't, not even close. A woman's body responds to gentle, patient, almost feather-light contact. Heavy-handed movements feel jarring and can actually shut her body down. Think of your hands as cradling her, not gripping her. Wrap her up, don't push on her. Mistake number 3, doing the same thing over and over. I see this one all the time. A man finds something that seems to work, and then he just keeps doing it exactly the same way for 10 minutes straight. Here's the deal. The human nervous system adapts fast. What felt good 30 seconds ago feels like nothing now. Variation is the name of the game. Change it up, soft to softer. This direction, then that one. A pause, a little something different. Avoiding these 3 things alone, moving too fast, pushing too hard, and repeating the same motion will put you ahead of probably 90% of men your age. I'm not exaggerating. Now, once you've got the atmosphere right and you've avoided the big pitfalls, it's time to find your rhythm. And this is where a lot of folks get tripped up, because the right rhythm isn't one size fits all. Every woman is different, and honestly, the same woman is different on different days. Her mood, her stress level, whether she slept well last night, all of that plays into what feels good in the moment. So the real skill isn't memorizing some magic formula. It's learning to read her in real time. Here's a practical tip I give all my patients. I call it the 3-second rule. Every 3 seconds or so, change something, just a little. The pressure, the direction, the pace. Not dramatically, you're not switching gears in a stick shift, just a small variation. This works because the brain pays attention to novelty. When things are constantly shifting in tiny ways, her nervous system stays engaged, and the pleasure keeps building instead of plateauing. Neuroscientists have studied this. It's a real thing. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about pressure itself. Forget pressing. Forget pushing. What you want is something closer to a glide. Like you're tracing a line on her skin, not pressing a button. Light, deliberate, intentional. That kind of touch lights up nerve endings she probably forgot she had. Now, I promised you some specific techniques, and I'm a woman of my word. So here are 3 that I recommend to the men who come to me looking for real, actionable guidance. These are simple, but don't mistake simple for unimportant. The first one I call the figure 8. Instead of moving in a straight line or a simple circle, trace the shape of a figure 8. Nice and slow, nice and smooth. Why does this work? Because a straight motion concentrates sensation in one spot, and the nerves there get tired fast. A figure eight spreads the sensation out, keeps things fresh, and feels more flowing and graceful. Her body responds to that sense of continuous movement. The second one is what I call wave rhythm. This is all about pacing. Instead of going at one steady speed, think of it like ocean waves. Slow, then a little quicker, then slow again. That rise and fall keeps her body guessing in the best way possible. It prevents her from getting used to any one sensation, and it creates this beautiful buildup that steady repetition just can't match. The third one might surprise you. I call it the deliberate miss. Every now and then on purpose, don't go exactly where she's expecting you to go, come close, and then move just slightly off course. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Why would you not go for it? But here's the psychology. Anticipation is powerful. When her body is expecting something and you hold off for just a beat longer, her sensitivity actually goes up. By the time you do come back to where she wants you, everything is heightened. It's a little tease, and done with love, it can be incredibly powerful. The golden rule across all three of these techniques: don't overdo it. More is not more. Softer, slower, and more varied beats harder, faster, and constant every single time. Remember that. Write it down if you have to. All right, so let's say you've got the atmosphere, you've got the techniques, you've got the rhythm. There's still one piece missing, and in my opinion, it might be the most important one of all, and that's observation, paying attention, actually watching and listening to the woman in front of you. Because here's the truth. No technique in the world matters if it's not the right technique for her in this moment. You have to become a student of her reactions. Her breathing is the biggest tell. When her breath catches, when it deepens, when it speeds up, those are signals. They're telling you, keep doing that, or slow down, or I'm with you. Learn to read those signals and adjust in real time. Her body will talk to you, too, if you let it. The way her shoulders relax, the way her hands move, whether she's pulling you closer or pulling back a little. None of these are things she's going to say out loud. They're unconscious and they're honest. A man who can read those cues is a man who's truly connected. Not just physically, but soul to soul. And this is where your age is actually a gift, gentlemen. You've lived, you've watched people, you've developed an intuition that younger men simply don't have yet. Use it. Don't try to force anything. Just notice, respond, and stay present. That alone puts you in a category very few men ever reach. I want to share a story with you because I think it'll hit home for a lot of you listening. A few years back, a gentleman named Frank came to see me at my clinic. He was 72 years old, widowed for almost a decade, and had recently remarried a wonderful woman he'd met through his church back in his hometown in Vermont. Frank was a sweetheart, one of those gruff old school guys with a huge heart buried under a whole lot of stoicism. He came to me because he told me, and I'll never forget this, he said, "Doc, I love this woman more than I know how to show, and I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up." So we started working together. At first, Frank was skeptical of everything I told him. The idea of slowing down, of paying attention to breathing, of changing the lights in the room, he thought it was all a little silly. But he tried. That's the thing about Frank. He showed up and he tried. And little by little, week by week, he started coming back with this look on his face, like something was shifting. One day he came in and he told me that the night before, his wife had turned to him and, with tears in her eyes, said, "Frank, nobody has ever made me feel like this before in my entire life." And Frank, this big tough guy, he choked up right there in my office telling me about it. He said, "Dr. Harper, I spent 72 years thinking I knew what love was. I was wrong. It's not about what you do. It's about how present you are when you do it." That's the whole lesson right there, folks. Frank didn't become a different man. He became a more attentive one. And that made all the difference. His story is not unusual. I've seen it happen over and over again with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Change is always possible. It's never too late. And whatever you're hoping for in your relationship, I promise you it's within reach if you're willing to show up the way Frank did. So let's bring this all together. We've talked about atmosphere, we've talked about technique, we've talked about rhythm, observation, and presence. All of these things matter. But if I had to boil it all down to one single thing, the single most important ingredient in everything I've shared with you today, it would be this: the willingness to change. The willingness to say, I don't know everything, and I'm open to learning. Age is just a number, everyone. I mean that. What makes a man attractive to a mature woman isn't his body or his bank account or how smooth he is. It's whether he takes her seriously, whether he puts in the effort, whether he shows up for her fully with his whole heart. And the good news is, that's something any man can do at any age starting today. Everything I shared with you in this video, it's not just information. It's a doorway into the kind of relationship you maybe thought was behind you. It isn't. It's right in front of you, waiting for you to walk through. All it takes is a little courage and a little kindness. That's it. Start small, start tonight. Try one thing we talked about, see what happens. If anything I said today landed for you, even a little bit, I really hope you'll hit that subscribe button and stick around. Here on my channel, I share everything I've learned in over 15 years of working with couples, the medical side, the emotional side, the practical side. All of it explained in plain English. No fluff, no judgment. Just real guidance from someone who genuinely cares about helping men like you build the kind of love that lasts. If you want to be the man your partner chooses, not just the one she's used to, if you want to be someone she feels lucky to have beside her, then you're in the right place. Subscribe, come back for the next video, and let's keep building this thing together. You've got more good years ahead of you than you think, and I want to help you make them the best ones yet. I'll see you next time.